Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
We are in the lovely lake region of Kisumu for the Great Debaters Contest. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Nyambok. Our motion today is students should be allowed to operate mobile accounts in developing a cashless economy. We have St. Mary's Lwak girls and St. Mary's Yala. This is a battle of the saints.
We'll let the debaters take the stage now. First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Pesa zachukiza moyo wangu. Dear countrymen, can you see that? That's the Vision 2030. And that's where we are heading. It is with this regard that I, Wesley Omondi, from St. Mary's School Yala, take onto this podium to propose this motion that says students should be allowed to operate mobile accounts as part of developing a cashless economy. First of all, I've been walking into the streets, meeting all plastics, all sorts of them, and I thought to myself, with the introduction of a cashless system, where we term a mobile account as an account through which we can make transactions and payment at our comfort, and a cashless economy as simply an economy with no coins. I believe that when we are availed with mobile accounts such as credit cards, debit cards, this one will lessen the amount of plastics in our environment, hence help in the recycling of plastics, in the production of credit and debit cards. Credit and debit cards are very more secure. With the introduction of newer security systems like the EMV chip cards and the zero liability, I think we are more secure handling a credit card and a debit card than when handling solid cash. It is very evident that when we are allowed to operate mobile accounts, the rate of moral evils in our schools will alleviate. Which thief is stupid enough to steal a credit card that he has no access to? Without a PIN, how can we do that? So I do strongly believe that when we are availed with these credit cards, the rate of moral evils in our schools will decrease. Kenya is looking forward to build a nation of generation that enhances saving. When we are availed with mobile accounts, this one will really increase our rate of saving. Saving is a practical skill, and the introduction of these will not only build up a generation that is morally upright, and apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to conclude this motion by saying that the future of tomorrow lies in our hands. And if we introduce these, we'll go places. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes.
They say that you have to think outside the box. I would like to challenge the Honorable House today to throw away the box and set our minds free so that we can think of the unthinkable too. Ngungi wa Ithongi once stated, a writer is a person who belongs to two worlds, a world of fiction and a world of fact. That is why I, Catherine Jana, from the School of Choice, Lwak Girls High School, is here with facts to strongly oppose the motion that says that students should be allowed to operate mobile accounts as a part of developing a cashless economy. A mobile account, this is an online platform where transactions are done mainly through electronic method. And cashless system or economic, this is where a situation whereby there is no or there is low flow of cash in the society. even though the world's population has an access to very many and multiple opinions of payment, but 80% of the consumer's transactions worldwide is done by cash. 80%. My question is, we are remaining with 20% worldwide. Remember, we have developing countries and developed countries. Our country lies among the developing countries. Ask yourself, how many percentage are we having in the country? And you expect students to use that? Really? It is a fact, not a myth. There is a big gap between the rich and the poor in the country. So, students who are from the poor families, are they forgotten? Mark you whether I am from a poor family or a rich family, I'm still a student. I need my rights. You have to treat me fairly. Let's take for an instance, I'm a student. I've never got access to a phone. I don't own any phone. Even the simplest phone, the so known as Kabambe, I don't own it, but I still can survive on cash. Now, you want to come up with cashless system. Remember, a phone is something I cannot just go outside there and dance and get freely. I have to buy it. I'm not in a position to do that. How do I have to survive? How? Another reason why I have to oppose this, the epileptic nature of power in Kenya. For us to go the cashless system, we have to use power. And with the epileptic nature of power you have in Kenya, will it work? Will it really work? There's some places which don't have power, and the students are also there. How do you expect them to survive? Lack of fund. For us to start the cashless economy, there is need of an intense funds, very intense. You don't think that the government will just get that easily. And to my counterparts, it's like you're saying that cash should die. And I have a question for you. If you had to write an obituary for a cash, what would you say? Thank you.
We'll now hear rebuttals, beginning with the proposers. You have 3 minutes.
That is the breath of a new Kenya. Brother, I too can see it. Opondo Jeff Omondi from the St. Mary's School of Yala, I'm proposing the motion that states students should be allowed to operate mobile accounts as a part of developing a cashless economy. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, Apostle Paul tells us, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." I stand here today to oppose my fellow debater when she says that 80% of the world is using cash. Please, dear sister, be flexible to change. Let us be able to embrace change as it comes our way. Ladies and gentlemen, even in the Bible, it is evident that for us to go to heaven, there was supposed to be the First Testament, and later on the Second Testament. That is change. So, I beg, let us all be able to embrace change as it comes our way. Second of all, my fellow debater talked about the common mwananchi not being able to get the kabambe phone, as she puts it. I'd like to ask a question. If the government can be able to launch laptops for the Form 1s, do you want to say it is difficult for the same government to launch programmed phones which may be cheaper to the common mwananchi? Food for thought. She talked about power saving, that most of us in our country don't have access to power. We can embrace the use of solar energy. Fellow citizens, I'd like to tell you that when we embrace this system of cashless economy, this enables the government to have future planning, because the government is able to monitor the activities of the teenagers. Hence, the government is able to budget for a particular part of the society. They say, change is the only thing in life that is constant. And this we can attest to in every sphere that surrounds our life. It pains that as we struggle, as we try our heart out to dress our country with development, to ensure that our country looks spick and span, you try to undress us. I'd like to rest my case.
Opposition, time for your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes as well.
I'm not going to tell you that it is going to be easy. I am telling you it's going to be worth it. What's going to be worth it? Opposing the motion that states students should not be allowed to operate mobile accounts as part of developing a cashless system. Point of correction, my counterparts. You said that the government has already launched the laptops. Where are they? If they've already launched them, where are they? We can't see them. We can't rely on that. We want to rely on something that we can see. Let us stop running from reality. Let's take an example of a Kenyan citizen. Each and every Kenyan citizen has an identification card. Why? For identification purposes, and also if one wants to operate a mobile account. You students have the students' identification cards. If you can't take care of your identification cards, how will you be able to take care of the mobile accounts? Let us now look at this globally. In most cashless countries, e.g. France and Netherlands, cash still accounts for 40% of all consumers' transactions. Better still, cash still remains the most commonly used method of payment in the global perspective. So, I don't think it would really work. For us students to operate mobile accounts, we'll have to be ready to bear the operational disruptions that come with the mobile operation accounts. Numerous examples exist. Just but to mention a few, the computer problem that caused the Bank of New York to lose $22 billion in 1985. Let's come back to our country when our mobile account operators stop operations in order to upgrade their systems. This is very inconvenient. I personally wouldn't want that. That's why I stick to using hard cash. Mobile accounts will give burden to parents. They'll have to bear the surcharges that come with mobile operation accounts. One, a student, and you'll have to trust me in this, a student will, times with no count, be forced to use his or her debit card for a different ATM. That will just give a parent load and loads and loads. So, I want to end on a note that beauty is the promise of happiness. And it is my happiness to oppose this motion that students should not be allowed to operate mobile accounts as part of developing a cashless system. I am Rose Mwenda from the School of Great Minds, St. Mary's Lwak Girls.
Ooh, Hessa, you're always there for me. Yeah. In my every time of need.
Yeah. Ikiwa Kisumu hadi Coastal, mashambani hadi Trao.
Yeah. Ooh, Hessa, you're always there for me. In my every time of need. Safaricom interruption.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap, or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
The proposition talked about environmental pollution, yet they encourage the use of credit and debit cards. So are they not contradicting themselves? And the opposition have been asked, is it not expensive for the government to actually have to manufacture hard cash using silver and other materials? We'll let them respond to the questions now. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
I'd like to respond to a question from Austin Odhiambo. I'd like to correct you by saying that my fellow proposer talked about the issue of removing or putting out environmental pollution through the use of these credit cards. He said that when you walk outside here, you see plastics around. The plastics are to be recycled to produce the credit cards and debit cards to enable us to go into the system of the cashless economy. When we get to this cashless economy system, to our students, in my school, during the first week, you can't purchase anything in the canteens just because everybody has 1,000 Kenya shilling notes in his pocket. Change becomes an issue. You have to wait for the second week to be able to purchase something from the canteen. But with the cashless economy, I think that will be eradicated out to our fellow students, and I believe that is right. I'd also like to say that by embracing the cashless economy, we'll be solving the issue of emergency expenses. It is really embarrassing to go somewhere to purchase something only for you to run out of money. And the only way you can pay for it or finish your payment, the cashless economy, the cashless system. Taking out your mobile phone, taking out your credit card, taking out your debit card, and making your payment. New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any reason, but because they're not already common. It's high time we start embracing change and remember that change is inevitable. Back in 2013, in Sweden, someone went to the Stockholm Bank to conduct a raid of money. He went in there, planned all the things, how to evade all the CCTVs. But on reaching that place, he finds out that that bank doesn't deal in hard cash. He lives there with nothing. I'd like to say that by this cashless system, we'll be embracing a country whereby theft will be reduced to the lowest level possible. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
It's high time we stop living in the shadows and face reality. Kenya is developing. Kenya is not a developed country. I would like to answer the question that was posed to me. You say that it is expensive for the Kenyan government actually to manufacture the coins and the notes. I've never heard of the government complaining. But let us look at this fact. The notes are processed. They can be recycled. And let's look at the coins. They last for a long time. And I believe it's expensive if the government, they allow students to use the mobile accounts, and yet people from the northern rifts are dying of hunger. Come on, let's think about that. Statistics from England, it shows that a country, there are 4 countries, not to mention a few, let's talk about Manchester. The mayor of New York banned the use of mobile phones in schools, and this led to great and massive advantage in a way that pupils and students ranging from the age of 16 to 19, they improved by a rate of 6.4%. And as we are students, in order to be able to access the mobile accounts, let's say for example, M-Pesa, you have to have an ID and you have to be a registered subscriber. And to what my second opposer said, you have to have an ID. And I believe no one has reached 18 except for the Form 4s. And plastics. Those debit and credit cards are made of plastics. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Why in a hurry to start something you're not used to? Let's take the time that you'll be educated on those issues, on practical money skills. And I believe that you said that money is the root of all evil. The mobile accounts are a form of soft cash, and as we deal with hard cash, it's better for me to use the hard cash than the soft cash. I would like to conclude by saying, if your smiled at is not meaning that you're loved, thank you and have a lovely time.
Closing statements. Proposers, you have 1 minute.
My mother is always overwhelmed with joy when she does not have to come to school just because she's bringing me pocket money, thanks to M-Pesa mobile accounts. Let us not try to blind our eyes. There is light at the end of the tunnel. My mother once told me that when you're pregnant with fears, it becomes very difficult for you to conceive new ideas. Let us be able to be flexible and understand change. I was contemplating, I was thinking, in the Bible, Judas was a student to Jesus, yet Judas betrayed Jesus with hard cash. I was just thinking, maybe if there was a mobile account by then, it could have taken time for Judas to do that. I live with this. Change is not without inconvenience, even from worse to better. Those are the words of Dr. Johnson. Thank you.
Opposition, you have a minute as well for your final submission.
Patience is power. With time and power, a mulberry leaf soon grows into silk. Life is a journey. You can't tell me that we'll start from barter trade, we go to money, then mobile accounts. We have to think fast. As a child is born, there is naming, there is initiation, and there is marriage, and lastly, death. The money we have, that money, it's a symbol of something. And let's look at 100 shillings note. 100 shillings note. You can see a pyramid there. You can see people harvesting coffee. That's a sign of heritage. Money can show how much we love our country. And let's look at the rich and poor people. The rich and poor people, there's a big gap. The rich are the majority. The rich are the minority, and the poor are the majority, the destitute. If you want to bring up this kind of system, let us consider them. Thank you.
St. Mary's, there are a couple of things that you said that impressed me, beginning with Magak. New opinions are often suspected. We should not be afraid of embracing the change that has already come because of the cashless economy or use of mobile banking. And also ponder what you said at the end, that your mom told you when you are pregnant with fears, you can't conceive new ideas, and you're advocating for that change and for the new ideas. And I think it was a commendable job from the team. I almost believed at some point that I should go your way, that cashless system, cashless economy is the way to go because of the way in which you came across.
Lwak girls, Catherine. Well, good presence as well. You know, you come and you really start us off in a way that gets our attention. However, I think some of your submissions that you gave us really needed to end well so that you can create logic to affirm your points. Rose, good cross-examination on the first point. On others, there was a bit of some weaknesses. Good submissions as well. I love the examples of operational difficulties that may come across with that, and the good mastery of topic because of the points that you gave. Lucky. I think you're lucky as well. You're very confident, good, and good mastery of language. I think you're also quite strong for the team as well.
For St. Mary's Yala, your arguments are very solid. And I like the fact that you start broad and then you narrow down to the motion is about students. And you're able to connect us to what this means for you as students and the challenges that you encounter when money has to change hands. St. Mary's Lwak, the team did a good job. Good rebuttal. One of the things that you should have said, Rose, in saying that, you know, a certain percentage still remains, cash still remains the most common mode of payment. What you should have done to bring your argument home is then tell us why it still remains that mode of payment. All the best.
We have St. Mary's Lwak girls. The judges awarded you 68%. Please give them a round of applause. St. Mary's School, Yala. The judges awarded you 74%.
Congratulations to both teams, and of course, St. Mary's Yala, that was a very good job. But from all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, we'd like to thank you for watching, and we'd also like to give our thanks to Safaricom M-Pesa and to KBC Channel 1. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. I have been your host, Mariam Bishar.
And I am Austin Yumbok. Catch you next time.
Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.